Good morning, good day, good evening to you all. Keith at Crypto Bullseye. And I haven't done a portfolio update for you for a while, guys. So I thought I'd take the time out to update you on what the Crypto Bullseye portfolio is looking like at the moment. But before I get into that, I just want to give an overview of what my thoughts are on the market at the moment, because I've been quite vocal that the markets are getting a little bit overheated at the moment. You could see dominance has started to come down slightly in the short term, but we did hit that 60% level. So is Bitcoin going to cool off, and what kind of cool off would it look like on Bitcoin? So make sure you subscribe to my channel, because I'll be updating you over the coming days, over the coming weeks. Make sure that you can either take advantage of those volatile spikes to the downside if we do get them, or what a soft landing would actually look like. So it's a case of monitoring the market at the moment. And I say it all the times, guys, most of the time you're doing nothing, waiting for something to happen. When that something happens, it doesn't happen as often as you think. There's not as many opportunities to get in those killer entries as you think, but I'll keep you updated, guys. Remember, none of this is financial advice. It's educational. It's what I'm doing myself, guys, and I've done this in front of you. So this is what the Crypto Bullseye portfolio looks like. Let's dive in. So how's the portfolio performing as a whole? We've got a profit here of $1,021.61. What's in the portfolio? We're going to go over that very shortly. You can see we've got the top gainers here. This is the importance, guys. Get yourself on either CoinGecko, CoinMarketCap, whatever platform it is that you use that's got a portfolio tracker on there. More importantly, that's free to use. Make sure it's free to use. Add your portfolio details on there, and it'll help you sleep at night. It'll help you keep track. If you've got 3, 4, 5 different exchanges, 3, 4, 5 different wallets, you want to keep everything in one place so you can just look at that and know exactly how anything's performing at any given time, what you need to do, where you are at any point. You can't look at 8 different exchanges and 4 different wallets. You can look at one of these and then understand exactly where you are. So that's why I've done this, guys. Remember the rules, $50 at a time. I was only allowed to position myself $50 at a time. I had a rule built in during the build phase. I had a rule built in, which was I can only buy at strong support, real strong support, on things that hadn't run alongside Bitcoin over the past 12, 18 months, and then things that I could only scale down on. That was the number one rule, guys. I wasn't allowed to scale up on my entries. I could only scale down. So if I bought something for $50 and it went to $60, I wasn't allowed to buy it. If something went from $50 to $30 at strong support, I was allowed to buy it, which would have brought my entry down to $40. So that's what I did, and it's 1,021.61 so far in profit, and the build phase is pretty much over. So when I say the build phase, guys, I was talking about the build phase in my video yesterday. Go back and watch this Cardano video. This is the build phase. This is the boring phase. That lasted for over 900 days. And then you get the bull run after that. You get the markup phase, and then you get the distribution phase, where the people here that were accumulating are distributing here. So the idea was to swim with the whales. This is the build phase now. And I was adding different cryptocurrencies that were at strong support during the build phase, and I was only allowed to average my entries down. I'll be scaling my entries out during the course of the bull market, during the distribution phase. Go back and watch the Cardano video. It tells you all about this. During the distribution phase, I'm going to be scaling my entries out the same as I scale my entries in during the build phase. When everybody's interested, the news is going parabolic, the whole thing's going parabolic, the market's going to have a super cycle, everything's going to be going up. My rules will be telling me that I need to be slowly scaling out the market whilst I'm getting entries on the last moves, and then ensuring that I've banked profits along the way. So the build phase is accumulative. Distribution phase is where you want to be scaling out of the market. So that's the intention behind the Bullseye portfolio. So far, the build phase is nearly done. So we've got Beam here, which is the top gainer. One thing that you need to think of with crypto, guys, there's 2 beams. There's one that's in the top 100. This is not within the top 100. That's 1,654 as far as the rankings are concerned. So this is a different one, and that's my top performer at the moment. My second is NPC on Solana. These are high risk, guys, and that's why I've only got the rule built in that I can put $50 in at a time. Only $50 at a time. That was the rule, and this was my side portfolio. So go back and check the playlist, guys. It's got every single one of these picks on here. When I got into them, the day I got into them, I've done it right in front of you. This is how it's performing at the moment. Build phase is nearly over, and I could tell by looking at the P&L on the right-hand side of CoinGecko to see what the P&L looks like. 123%, 227%, 77%, 44%, 42%. You go all the way down, guys. And remember, I had one problem during this, Everything, there's always a problem within crypto, guys. It's how you deal with it. I was told that I couldn't use an exchange anymore as a UK citizen. So I had to go out of one account, which I had high risk things in, and I had to move it into an FCA registered account, which didn't have as many choices. So I had to re-diversify. And because of that, this is what I have to deal with. If I go to the bottom here, see these high risk ones, I've got holdings here. You can see 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. I was forced to break my rules. I was forced to break my rules here because I was preserving my capital. I was more worried about not being able to use an exchange crashing on me, than putting it into a different exchange and managing it there, which is registered by the FCA, which as a UK citizen, apparently we have to do. So that's what I had to deal with, guys. I've got a few holdings down here. The ones that I managed to convert and just transfer over on chain, I've done that. And the rest is what I left with. But I've got to keep these on here because it's got P&L on there. It's got minus P&L on there, and I need to factor the minus P&L in. If I deleted them, this would look much better, and it wouldn't give a full picture. That would look better. P&L would look better. It wouldn't give an overall picture because I need to factor these in as losses. I had to deal with the issue when it was there, and I went onto YouTube in front of you guys, and I dealt with the issue in front of you. So there's a few that I'm holding that's still in a loss, but the idea is that the ones that are outperforming carry the ones that are losing. Right, okay, so that's the intention, guys. The build phase, we talked about the build phase. We want to be part of the build phase. I want to be part of the build phase where I'm accumulating. And then during the market phase, it's going to be easier for me because we'll be putting in higher lows, we'll be putting in higher highs, and the P&L is going to stay positive, although that you're going to have your peaks and troughs along the way. When you get to the euphoria stage, obviously, the idea and the intention is, although it's never going to happen to the exact day, you want to be scaled out of your position. So you want to be scaling out of your position during the distribution phase. During the distribution phase, accumulating and distributing. And remember, guys, what the wise man does in the beginning, the fool does at the end. So we want to be the wise men down here, and the fool does this at the end. This is where the market has got so much hype in. Thrill, euphoria, everybody's greedy. Fear and greed index has gone through the roof. The new pool's saying that everything is extreme. P&L is in profit for everybody. Market's overheated. It's over leveraged. Needs to pull back. And exactly the same thing happens as what it does in previous cycles, guys. So don't let the markets trick you. Understand the markets and go back and watch my previous videos where I explain that. Previous Cardano video, I explained that in depth, guys. So go back and watch that. So, guys, let me know if you want more videos like this and join our Discord group. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, and I'll keep you up to date in the crypto market. I'll keep you more up to date on this portfolio if you do want more portfolio videos and how I'm managing it going into the next phase, because the build phase is nearly over. We're going into the next phase, which is going to be capital regeneration. So we talked about in the Cardano video where you've got the accumulation, you've got the markup phase, and you've got the distribution phase. During the markup phase, what I want to be doing is starting to preserve my capital back out of the market. What I put in, I want to take out. And then during the distribution phase, that's where the whales are selling. The whales are selling over a long period of time, guys. It can happen over about 3 months. Whales are selling, the whales are selling, and that's when I'm going to be scaling out of the market on this portfolio. So the next phase is capital regeneration during the markup phase. Final phase is going to be the redistribution, where I'm going to be taking the capital out and I'm going to be putting it into safer risk assets. The idea, guys, is what do you think happens at the end of one bull run? When you get a crash in the crypto market, when you get a crash in the stock market, what do you think happens to that liquidity? That liquidity goes somewhere else, whether it goes in dollars, whether it goes in commodities like wheat, white, like grain, whether it goes into more scarce assets or whether it goes into things like gold. It goes into a different market and another market cycle begins. So when one cycle ends, another cycle begins, and that flow of money just distributes from one area and accumulates into another area. It's just the world macro market cycle, guys. Mr. Market does whatever the hell it wants. But no, there's big players in the market behind the scenes that are controlling this. And all you've got to think is if you can understand the markets, you can understand how the markets are made, how the markets work, and how people buy and sell during different types of times in the market, depending on what their emotions are telling them, depending on what the news is telling them, depending on their own personal circumstances. people in the background that have got the money can take advantage of those situations. Is there rate cuts? Is there rate hikes? Is there new money coming into the market? Where's that money being distributed? Is it going to go into the hands of the poor? Probably not. Is it going to go to the hands in the middle class initially? Where's it going to end up? In the hands of the people that own the assets, which is the rich. That's why the middle class are getting wiped out, guys. And I'm not going to get into that in this video. But if you do like this content and you want more content like this, let me know in the comments. Take care of yourselves, guys, and goodbye from me.